Hello everyone and welcome to our educational session. Today we have part 2 of multi-part series on status, and the unifying topic is signaling high status, alternative and distinctive ways. My name is Paul Arsuf, and I'm the founder of Decentralized Web Project. We're building a decentralized communication and advertising platform, and we have released recently an NFT marketplace and collection of NFTs based on three-dimensional objects. But I can tell you about our project after the end of this educational session, and let's come back right right away to the topic of today. In the last presentation, we did discuss that there are six different dimensions which we are going to evaluate high status and the alternative signals. Usually people can maybe guess, maybe recognize some like wealthy or high status person by the way people are dressing. But these alternative signals are additional and distinctive, and like they're like maybe subtle and not very visible in our culture. But by knowing these alternative signals, you can find yourself if some person that you see or that you even speak at the moment could be somebody with very high status. Okay, let's go back to the topic, and like we are going to be having unified framework based on distance. Like as the most common and countable meaning of the term, distance refers to the amount of space between 2 points. Importantly though, in addition to the spatial and physical distance between two points, the distance could be more abstract and psychological. For example, temporal distance refers to how much time separates the present like perceiver's time and target, which is based on the past or could be even based in the future, and we are imagining what is the perceived distance. And another way of distance is social distance, which refers to the degree of closeness an individual or a group feels towards another individual or group in society. Given that the overarching motive driving status signaling is distinction, it follows that signals that are distance in some way from products, from brands, from preferences that have become mainstream will deliver on the objective of signaling from others. Indeed, some like researchers view that the ontological function of status is recreating the distance, the gap and others have examined different nuances of distance in relation to status signaling and luxury goods. For example, spatial distance among products display enhanced perceived value. Social distance among groups grants status to the top strata, and price distance of luxury goods versus ordinary goods produces perceived prestige. There's some detailed reviews of this literature and additional discussion on the contributions of this research in relation to each of these forms of distance. Building on the literature and leveraging on multiple dimensions of distance, for example, spatial, social, temporal, this current framework categorizes alternative signals of status in terms of distance from traditional status symbols, and it is becoming mainstream along 6 focal dimensions. The first one is distance from time, that is distance among signals in terms of age of new versus old continuum. The second one is distance in terms of quantity, that is distance among signals in terms of numbers of possessions on the many versus a few possessions continuum. The third perceived frame is distance in terms of conspicuousness, which is distance among signals in terms of visibility on the conspicuous versus inconspicuous continuum. The fourth one is distance in terms of aesthetics, that is distance among signals in terms of aesthetic appeal on like beauty versus ugly continuum. The fifth perceived frame is distance in terms of culture, which is distance among signals in terms of cultural association among the highbrow versus lowbrow cultural continuum. And the sixth and last dimension is a distance in terms of pace of life, that is distance among signals in terms of rhythm of activities on the slow versus fast continuum. The theoretical approach of categorizing status signals along a continuum with two extremes draws directly on the research on ownership that has similarly located consumptions at varied positions in the liquid versus solid spectrum. The dimensions progress from this where distance is more countable. For example, distance in terms of numbers of years, numbers of possessions, versus those where the nature of distance is more abstract and conceptual. For example, distance in terms of aesthetic appeal or cultural associations of signals. Um, the grounded theory method um, um, to systematically identify the six distance dimensions and like it is used to generate this framework. This approach them, allows for delivering structured conceptualizations from qualitative data. The data includes a large body of theoretical work and applies input related to status signals, conspicuous consumptions, and luxuries. There are several hundred articles in marketing which have been analyzed and adjacent discipline to marketing like sociology, psychology, economics, management, um, and etc. Um, so we analyzed this data using a bottom-up open approach, resulting in identification of like about several hundred open like items, which then they were clustered in like about 250 um, groups of codes, and then they were later condensed so that we got this six unique and distinctive dimensions. This research contributes to the other reviews and conceptual articles and books on status, and it is establishing a new unified framework based on distance to categorize these alternative signals along these six dimensions. While some researchers have considered some of the dimensions of distance in relation to status, luxury goods, and intergroup dynamics, typically focusing on one dimension at a time, for example, social distance or spatial distance or price distance. Um, like there may be no research that has focused on the distance between the different status signals themselves as one overarching construct to systematically categorize alternative signals along different dimensions. Um, then the next sections they are going to delve into the specifics of each dimension of distance and the related alternative status signals by introducing the dimensions and providing representative manifestations in the market, defining the dimensions in and discussing how it came to operate as a status symbol with a focus on the benefits and costs. And it's delineating potential and testable extensions of the dimension, elaborates on what type of consumer is most likely to use this alternative signal in general, and each specific dimension individual differences. With that said, we are going towards the first dimension, and this is the distance in terms of time. Keeping up with the spirit and the changing styles and buying new items signal status by evidencing superior ability to pay uh, for goods. Luxury consumers are fascinated by the novel and hypercurrent, and this appreciation for the new contributes to the reshaping of cycles of the luxury market. Accordingly, up until recently, using accessories from the past, wearing previously worn outfits, or driving old cars was often frowned upon and considered a form of necessary rather than desire to be distinctive. In recent years, however, an increasing number of high-status consumers and luxury brands have begun opting for signals coming from the distant past and clearly associated with earlier eras. For example, instead of going for the latest styles, several stars on the red carpet have recently embraced vintage, wearing old dresses from past collections instead of launching new forward-looking designs. Um, like many luxury brands such as Gucci and their all launched e-commerce sites featuring refurbished vintage pieces. Instead of showcasing futuristic interiors, style magazines um, celebrate the glamorousness of the decors of old times, like, for example, 1970s. In all these cases, distance from mainstream signals is achieved by giving back to the past, giving back to the old, and rather than projecting into the future and looking for something new. Vintage is possibly the most representative market manifestation of these alternative signals. The term vintage, it is derived from wine making and characterizing the year which the wine has been bottled, and the location in which the wine have been made, typically describing, but in terms of fashion, typically describes clothing, furniture, cars, and other items which are more than 20 years older and reflective of an era in the past. Thus, whether an item is vintage is mainly determined by the age of piece and not by whether it has been used before. Notably, this characteristic sets vintage apart from second-hand or pieces that have been used before. regardless of the age. So we are going to go to the definitions and foundations of this distinction in terms of time. Distance on the time dimension refers to the difference between traditional status symbols and alternative signals in terms of age along new versus old time continuum, and it has been measured and manipulated, for example, throughout the age of products. Through a longitudinal analysis of baby names, it suggests that the distance in time is often instrumental to a future revival of a specific signal. In other words, the temporary decline of a specific signal is necessary for its future resurgence in a different light. If enough time has passed between old and current time, since some clothing or watches or furniture or cars and other products were first popular, their reappearance will not be confused with mere out-of-date usage. Not just any term that is 20 years or older, however, will re-emerge the term vintage is especially applicable to items deemed emblematic or representative of a particular period of time. In addition to age and reflectiveness of an era, often defining elements of vintage products include design, which is measured in terms of aesthetic, of coolness, also quantity, quality, for example, long-lasting material, craftsmanship, and availability. Few pieces produced harder to find. What might explain the emergence of signals from the past? In line with the central premise of this research, some scholars propose that vintage has gained popularity in response to increasing definition of increasing dilution of modern luxury goods and the observation that newness typically becomes early or late form of commodity. So we would be looking also to the benefits. One of the main upsides of choosing signals from the past is their rarity. The fact that unlike current mass-produced items, most vintage pieces are sometimes one of a kind and out of production, which grants distinction. At vintage fairs and on vintage retailers' websites, often only one piece per item is on sale. As such, these signals are difficult to copy as duplicates or similar products may not even be existing or available. Another prominent benefit of the signals associated with the past is that their aesthetic originals from the past, um, and vintage products are aesthetic products in that they were produced often entirely by hand, and they were produced decades ago and embody the values and cultures of those times. Finally, recent work has highlighted additional positive psychological ramifications related to signals from the past. For example, vintage items as existing and continuous signals um, are bygones eras. They mitigate the typical reactions to threats such as uh, death reminders. Likewise, when consumers feel that their social system is threatened, they tend to gravitate towards products which are stable and unchanging, such as vintage, to compensate for the loss of equilibrium. Products from the past and traditional features are preferred when negative extrinsic rewards, such as commercial motivation of luxury brands, are particularly prominent. Then we can look at the costs. First, engaging in vintage consumption requires a high level of cultural capital and sophistication that is not necessarily needed when selecting more modern luxury goods. Consumers cannot rely solely on brands or piece or price to discern what is in, but need to incorporate their own tastes and their own judgment in the decision to use vintage. On one hand, knowledge of good sources, um, the right markets, website auctions for buying the pieces is an important component to gain access to the right vintage products. On the other hand, in the absence of adequate domain-specific knowledge, uh, search costs can be high, and identifying valuable items among a plethora of potential options is demanding demanding thing. Sophisticated shoppers will go straight to the best goods, leaving the other stuff behind. For the less knowledgeable people, and second, selecting signals from distant past is costly in that it involves some misidentification risks. Only insiders may appreciate pieces originating from different periods. These signals may look just like old and out of date to most people, but for a sophisticated buyer, they are very distinctive. Another and third consideration is that vintage products are by no means cheap. Indeed, the price of these pieces might sometimes exceed that of modern luxury pieces. An analysis of like several hundred vintage products scraped from online specialty vintage retailers um, is revealing that the average price were approximately $1,400 for vintage bags and $1,000 for vintage dresses. And even when uh, the base prices of vintage is not as high as the modern equivalent, old goods often are functionally and technologically inferior to contemporary goods and require high maintenance costs. For example, if we're looking at cars, Jaguar E-Type from the 1960s may only cost $60,000, but it will be more expensive to use and maintain than the regular and new Jaguar models. So we would be looking to extensions and we would be looking to diminishing time distance. Um, as we mentioned, roughly 20 years is the minimum time distance for signals from the past to be considered vintage. However, the pace of innovation and the cadence for introducing new collections and styles until a few decades ago were much slower than they are today. For example, the traditional seasoned calendar for high-end couture featured new releases twice a year. The spring, summer collections and autumn, winter um, drop 6 months later. Then the industry moved to a schedule of four times a year, and recently several players such as Burberry have begun releasing new items or offering product drops, um, like releasing products or collections without much warning continuously, and it is released continuously throughout the year. The incessant release schedule and the drop culture appeal to younger consumers and expect constant novelty and are always looking for the latest products to post on social media. A consequence of the continuous release schedule is that product life cycles are shortening and items remain cool and in for a matter of a few weeks or months. Given this faster pace of introduction of new styles and the shortening of product cycles, it may take less for a luxury product to be a hit and then vanish from the market and then re-emerge and come back in the form of vintage. Thus, moving forward, as innovation cycles continue shrinking and styles come and in and out more quickly, the time distance for signals from the past to qualify as vintage may also diminish. In other words, it may take less than 2 decades for some of the it pieces of today to make a comeback in the scene as a valid vintage item in the future. A way to test this possibility is to examine the average age of a representative sample of vintage pieces sold in different decades. For example, 2000s, 2010s, and even 2020s. And check whether the average year decreases on how old the newest vintage pieces are in each decades. And with this said, I will be ending this presentation, and the next week we're going to be having part 3, distance in terms of quantity, and we may be looking also at the third and following dimensions as well. As I mentioned in the beginning of this presentation, my name is Paul Arsov. I'm the founder of the Decentralized Web Project, and we're building a decentralized communication and advertising platform. And we did release a marketplace and collection of NFTs based on three-dimensional objects. With this set, I like to mention a few things about our projects. With three-dimensional objects, there has to be some special software which loads and displays the 3D objects. And from the very beginning, we decided, instead of using standard 3D software, which most often is game engines, and most popular game engine used to 3D to displaying 3D objects is like one game engine called Unity and another game engine called Unreal. But we decided to build our own 3D software engine, and this 3D software engine, what it does is it opens a window on a computer display. It loads the 3D object file, and it starts animating this 3D object in a way of moving it around the window. It just did open, and moving it in a random fashion around the window. In addition to opening a window, loading and animating the 3D object, our 3D software engine has multiple additional capabilities. The first additional capability is the capability of speaking. Our 3D NFTs can speak in one of 3 different voices. The 3D NFTs can speak either in a male voice, or in a female voice, or in a whisper kind of a voice. Then the 3D software engine can have voice recognition capability, and for example, if you have 3D NFT moving in random fashion, then you can issue your very first voice command to this 3D NFT to stop moving, and then the 3D NFT is going to fulfill this command and stop moving and stand still. Then you can issue following voice commands to the 3D NFTs to move left, move right, move up, move down, zoom in, zoom out, rotate. And then the 3D NFT is going to fulfill each one of these separate voice commands and move left, then move right, move up, then move down, come closer, zoom in, go further away, zoom out, and start rotating. The next additional and important capability is the capability of the 3D NFTs having basic artificial intelligence. You can ask the 3D NFT what is your name, and then the 3D NFT is going to reply with their name. You can ask the 3D NFT who are you, and then the 3D NFT is going to reply with like in few sentences of who they are. You can ask the 3D NFT to describe something. For example, describe Web3 or describe decentralization or describe Russia. And then the 3D NFT is going to tell you in few sentences about Web3 or decentralization or the country called Russia. The last additional and important capability of the 3D NFTs is the capability of seeing them in real 3 dimensions. Currently, the 3D NFTs are displayed on a flat 2-dimensional computer display, and we are using our imagination to imagine the 3D NFT on a flat 2-dimensional computer screen in real 3 dimensions. But we plan to have a version of the 3D NFT which is going to be displayed in a way of stereoscopics. What stereoscopics means is that part of the 3D NFT is going to be displayed in red or reddish colors, and part of the 3D NFT is going to be displayed in blue or bluish colors. Then you can come to our 3D NFT marketplace, and this is the time I can mention the URL and the name of the website of our 3D NFT marketplace. It is 3dnft.decentralizedweb.org. 3D NFT is written in a way of the number 3 followed by the letter D followed by 3 other letters NFT, and this is all together 3D NFT. Then there's dot, then there are 2 words, decentralized and web, and they're typed all together, decentralized web. Then there's dot, and it ends with org. Once again, 3D NFT dot decentralizedweb.org. When you go to the main page of our website, you are going to see a link to accessories. You can click on this link and you're going to see that we offer special glasses. You can order 1 pair, and when you receive these glasses, you can see that one lens of these glasses is red and the other lens of these glasses is blue. Then you can put these glasses on. You can request displaying the 3D NFT in a way of stereoscopics, and then you're going to see the 3D NFT as coming out of the flat 2-dimensional computer screen, and you're going to see it in real 3 dimensions. With this said, I'm ending the listing of the capabilities of our 3D NFTs and our 3D software engine. I can tell you a little bit about our 3D NFT marketplace. We have our own blockchain instance, and this blockchain instance, it runs Ethereum software, and this is the same software which runs on Ethereum mainnet, on Binance Smart Chain, on Avalanche AVAX blockchain, on Polygon Matic blockchain, and on many other blockchains currently used and public. By having our own blockchain instance, then we do not require our users to pay gas fees for deployment of the smart contracts for the non-fungible tokens, and our users do not pay for uh, gas fees for transactions of transfer of ownership from one user to another user. Another benefit of having our own blockchain instance is that we allow buying and receiving proceedings from sale in multiple crypto coins. Currently, our users can buy and receive proceedings from sale in 4 different crypto coins, and the choice includes Solana Sol, Polygon Matic, Avalanche Avax, and Qcoin, which is a big centralized crypto exchange. It has a coin called KCS. In addition to buying and selling of our 3D NFTs with crypto, we have second parallel and independent way of buying and selling our 3D NFTs, and it is done in entirely with fiat currency. Currently, users can come to our website like uh, like select a 3D NFT, and like when they come to buy this 3D NFT, they're going to see choices of 4 different crypto coins or choice with fiat currency. When they choose payment with fiat currency, then they can put their debit or credit card number and complete the transaction in their national fiat currency. Then what happens is they this transaction of payment is followed by transaction of transfer of ownership from our marketplace to this first and current user of this 3D NFT, and the proceedings of the sale are converted from the national fiat currency of the user to US dollars, and they are deposited in our bank account. A second user which comes to buy this 3D NFT can come and do buying in their national fiat currency, which could be different than the fiat currency of other users, and it can be different than US dollars. Then when it comes to the selling of these 3D NFTs, users can define the 3D NFT and put them for sale. They decide on the price they put for sale, and then they like when another buyer comes and buys their NFTs with fiat currency, then users can receive the proceedings from the sale by like conversion and transfer from our bank account, conversion from US dollars to the national fiat currency of this seller, and the proceedings are deposited directly in the bank account of the sellers. With this said, I'm ending this presentation. Come back for part 3 of this multi-part series, and I wish you to have a nice day, have a nice evening, and goodbye.